Welcome, everybody, to another live stream with Intelligent Construction Opportunities. I'm Stephanie Brown, founder of Intelligent Construction Opportunities. We do these live streams so construction professionals, like those that are listening and our other viewers, and construction vendors together can share their experiences about today's technologies. If you would like to show off your construction technology, feel free to contact us directly at info@intelops.com, and we'll start to talk about what works for you, how you want to frame out your technology and share it with the rest of the world. And don't forget to subscribe to Intelligent Construction Opportunities YouTube channel, where you'll find other helpful interviews to shed some light on technologies that you may be interested in as well. Today, we welcome back, for what is this, guys? Maybe a third time now?
I think this is number 2, but we'll sign up for a third.
Brian and JD Whitaker, respectively CEO and COO and founders at ControlQore. So welcome, JD and Brian. Really happy to have you here. These guys, just if I can riff a little bit and just indulge me, viewers, we had a really great outing, and every conversation we get deeper and deeper into what they're doing as not only construction technology vendors, but as practitioners themselves, and they really understand the business from the inside out. So, guys, today we're going to talk about software as in a bookkeeping context. So bookkeeping as a service. So we had some, conversations obviously leading up to today's live stream that really kind of excited me, I have to say, because the profile of most construction people are in the SMB space. And as we all know, the focus is on building, it could and should and has to be on the books, but how do you make that happen? And JD and Brian and the rest of their team have figured out a way to help to figure that out. So let's get into it. Who is ControlQore for? And what are you doing?
Yeah. So when JD and I set out and started ControlQore, or I guess started dreaming up the idea of ControlQore, really our mission and our vision was to bring control. And originally we contemplated, what's the best way to do that? Is it technology? Is it a set of services? And does it have to be either one of those? Can you do both? And so as we've begun developing a really great piece of technology to kind of cover all of the issues that we're seeing or not seeing in the construction tech space, we're also getting to know and get a really good feel for all of the other small businesses out there and construction folks who started their business because they were super good at building stuff and they wanted to go out and build things. But they weren't necessarily trained in all things accounting, and look at accounting as a necessary evil. And so we've made it a mission of ours to not just sell technology or just be another software vendor, but really to sell control. That you as a construction business can have control over your financials. You can delegate those financials out without losing visibility, and you can maintain a confidence in your business model as you're going out, getting bids and going out on the job site. You know that on the back end, everything is being taken care of, whether it's from with our technology or with the services that we come in and we provide as expert construction accountants to do your bookkeeping for you, and really just meet our clients wherever they're at on their business roadmap. Are they brand new and do they need a new chart of accounts to get set up? Or are they just super well established but overwhelmed with the amount of accounts payable or accounts receivable that's coming their way and don't know how to manage it effectively. Well, our technology can solve that solution for you if you've got the manpower. And if you don't have the manpower, that's fine. We'll come in and help you manage it wherever you're at and whatever accounting platform that you're currently using.
I think that's the point to stress, right? Because I think you get into this business, you're excited, you got a skill set. I mean, if you're lucky enough, you've built up a positive reputation. You know, I guess by default or de facto, you become a bookkeeper and you never intended to, or maybe your spouse, or I don't know. But
well, those are good. Those are realistic scenarios.
Oh, absolutely,
absolutely.
And I think I'm describing a lot of the subcontractors. I'm coming from the background of a commercial general contractor, but just been able to work with a lot of really good subcontractors, and that's exactly their situation. But the reality is that, like, it's not like a surprise when you haven't reconciled your books for a year or 2 years. That's a problem. And if you can't really, like, specifically say whether or not, like, you're looking in your accounts receivable and you're like, man, did I collect on that or not? Or a deposit comes in and you're like, shoot, I have 3 invoices right now that are all for that exact amount, and I'm not really sure which one that needs to get applied to. Like, it's just like little things that all contribute to like a kind of a sense or being like overwhelmed, and you're like, I can never keep on top of this. But yet the idea, you need to delegate, but it's a scary thing. How do you differentiate between someone you can rely on and someone that you can't, right? Like, I mean, we can sub it out, and if they do a bad job, I guess I can grasp the idea. I go and fix that. But when you turn someone over on taking care of your books, I think that generally feels like a lot more of a permanent decision, or it could feel that way. And so I think the intimidation factor is enough that you just keep on tolerating the situation and putting out fires as they come up. And your bill payment method is based off of whoever's yelling the loudest. And it's just like management by crisis. And in reality, it doesn't need to be that way. And I suppose part of what we're hoping to do is to take opportunities like this to introduce who we are, and to start the process of earning people's trust. Construction's a relationship-based industry, and so hopefully, as a construction technology and service provider, we can sell what we're selling in much of a way that we buy and sell in the construction industry. Well, let me get to know you. Like, can I rely on you to fulfill the contract, whatever it is? So I think that's just something that's important as you think about like what's different about ControlQore. And Bri hit on some really exciting things about, like, if I'm a small business owner and this is my first experience giving up some amount of control, yet ControlQore says we're selling you control. How do you do that? And there's a couple of keywords, like we provide visibility into some very important junctures, like that relate to bill approvals or the actual payment method. I want
to back up a little bit, though.
Yeah,
I want to really sort of get into the heads of the guy and maybe some gals out there that have their own specialty trade contracting company, or if they happen to be a smaller GC. Let's get into the heads of, okay, so a day in a life. They've got, they had to go out to Home Depot today and get God knows how many extra supplies of X because they ran out. They've got a bunch of receipts. They shoved the receipts in the flap somewhere in the console of the truck. They forget about the receipts. I'll get them on Friday when I go home on the weekend, or whatever the case may be. I really want to kind of get the audience to sort of get into the head of examples of how you use your software to help this, and why is bookkeeping so important for construction businesses? It sounds like such a dumb question because, you know, it's where the money is eventually, but without it, I mean, JD, you actually own a construction company yourself. So, you know, you're in the reality of it. JD, you've got your own, sorry, Brian, you've got your own experience with your, you know, your own contractors and the people that you're helping right now to do bookkeeping as a service. We have to link back. The bookkeeping is so important to the construction business because, and it's because they can take jobs all they want, but somehow their profit margin is never realized, right? I mean, you can take all the jobs you want, and yet somehow you're missing the dollars and cents. How is ControlQore helping literally change that scenario?
And I'm gonna there's another good LinkedIn resource here that talks a lot about bookkeeping as a service, or not bookkeeping as a service, but the importance of maintaining the financial integrity of your business. And actually, just recently, he posted about the ability to, if you could be doing, you know, $6 million a year and not be profitable or have very small margins, and then because you're not keeping track of all of your costs and all of the expenses, all the different ways that project is actually costing you money. And then you could scale back down to doing $3 million a year and make $200,000 or $300,000 more in net profit because you're paying attention to all of the different expenses that are coming in against that specific project. And bookkeeping is the only way that you're going to be able to do that. If you're going to, you know, there's no way that you can keep track of it all in your head unless you're doing maybe 1 or 2 projects a month. As soon as you start getting into 3 or 4 projects, it starts to get, there's a lot going on up there that you have to try and remember.
I mean, that's good information. I think that's kind of like being told we're supposed to eat vegetables. Like, I mean, come on.
Well done, JD.
Like, we all know that we're supposed to do that, but I think a really good question is like, why are we not doing it? What's standing in the way of me, like, job costing? And I think that's really where, like, it's important to start poking and like and asking yourself those questions and being realistic and honest with yourself. So take your Home Depot example. First of all, don't put the pressure on yourself to not lose a receipt, because you're going to lose a receipt. So adopt a piece of technology that you can take a picture of, and then you can sync it with the transaction as it comes through. So, like, immediately you're creating visibility. And so one of the examples from ControlQore, from our expense management solution is, let's say I'm purchasing at Home Depot using a credit card or a debit card. As soon as that transaction is even like swiped or whatever, it immediately creates a placeholder on the platform. Here's a transaction. And then if you just snap the picture, you like, now you're starting to be able to connect the dots. You can, and the receipt's there in your library. You can link the two, and then it's done. And the other thing that I love this principle. I call it iterative accuracy, which means, like, as long as, like, we shouldn't make a system that requires us to know everything, like, upfront. I may not know all the answers, so maybe I know, like, okay, I bought it and it's for this project, but I'm not sure how I want to cost code it. Like, I can at least record it's for this project and save that. And I'm one step closer to good job costing. So I think that there's just, when you design a construction, like, financial management tool, you got to be realistic with it. So allowing yourself the reality of, like, I may not know everything, but I'm just going to get us a little bit farther along. I can get the stuff in the system. I don't know, Brian, you got anything else that's jumping into mind?
No, that's on the technology aspect. Like that's making it as simple and uninhibitive as possible. I like to use the term, it's like we're creating a game of soccer, just the least amount of hands as possible. Then now you've got a piece of technology that can make it as easy to record the information as possible. And now, coupling it with this idea that, hey, I've got someone on the back end that can make up where I might be deficient on my accounting. So sure, I can capture that receipt, but I don't know necessarily what's the best job, cost code for this thing. Well, you've got a service, somebody that's doing your bookkeeping for you that has a little bit more experience and knows, okay, we're going to cost it here. And then further down the road, that transaction is going to get reconciled, for your month end, for your taxes. It's going to get put in the right place so that you as a business are well taken care of when it comes time to file your taxes. I mean, really, that's file your taxes and do your audits.
All right. So I'm going to kitchen sink a scenario at you. Joe, the contractor, he's got a fantastic business and his local, he's busy all the time. He is upwarding toward 5 million a year. And yet when you look in his truck, it looks like it's wallpapered with receipts. How does he come to ControlQore and say, help me, please? Where would you even start with that kind of scenario, assuming maybe he filed his taxes 2 years ago and hasn't even done it recently?
That's actually a situation that we're in with one of my clients. Pretty close.
Well, let me and also when it comes to job costing, let's be honest, if the job's done, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So let's let go.
Well, that's true. So but state it. That's
Yeah. And so I think at that point, your number one objective is just cash reconciliation. So as you start working your way down your list of priorities, I think first and foremost, when you look at your accounting software, the first objective is to make sure that the balance that's shown there is going to really match what's actually in the bank, so that we're not making bad decisions, just from a cash management perspective. And then from there, I think that, that's a really actually great problem to have. I'm too successful, right? I don't have time to job costs, so I don't know actually how profitable I am on my projects. I'm going to go back to a principle of just we'll meet you where you're at. So if I come to you and say, hey, I need you to adopt all of this technology product package, I just think sometimes we tend to be overwhelmed, and you're
all the time, not even sometimes.
I gotta go. I got a client call me. I've got an employee who just hit a gas line. I got I don't know, whatever. I don't have time to learn a new piece of technology. I get it. That's just the reality of our industry. We are too busy sometimes to find the solution. So recognizing that and knowing that, hey, we have a technology product, but we also need to pair it with services. We can come in and we have experience in a variety of different accounting platforms, file management systems, project management systems, and all the stuff that we've had to deal with over the years. And we can insert ourselves into your system, and we'll learn what you got going on, and kind of
let's again try and bring it back to reality. So sorry for cutting you, but
you're good.
So QuickBooks, right? Yeah. So say that's the only thing that they know, and every once in a while they're entering stuff into QuickBooks. Yeah. You guys would look at, you get permission, obviously, which is kind of getting into my next question. What if they're wary of sharing their financial information? What processes do you have in place that are making sure that, you're just looking at their numbers and doing, I don't know,
I,
some nefarious thing with them.
therein lies, like, that's the scary part, right? And so, so whatever it is we got to do to demonstrate what our controls are, I think those are relevant questions. Demonstrate, like, hey, like, let's just get in, and you want us to, like, what do you want me to do to earn your trust? Whatever it is, I get it.
So what would you do? Let's play this out. I mean, what would
I mean, we can't do much unless you get us access to your, like, if in that scenario, like, we need your QuickBooks login. But if you want to limit the permissions to where it's like you're not sending out payment, like, sure, like,
yeah. So we typically will set up with what, if the client wants some kind of a process in place, we will input processes, whether it's through ControlQore or whether it's through some outside piece.
That's what I was looking for.
To make sure that money doesn't go in or out without the client's eyeballs first. And I have clients that are on both ends of that spectrum. I have one client that we process all of their bills through ControlQore. They have the opportunity to review them, and then we input them into its foundation is their ERP right now. And so we input them all into foundation after they've reviewed the bills and approved them. But then when it comes time to pay those bills, they do a second set of approvals. So I prepare the payment, I have it all ready and ready to go, and they then get to go in and see, yep, all this money going out looks good. There's no, hoo-ha going on, and the payment goes off. So that's one end of the spectrum. And then I have other clients that are, a little bit less organized and would like to see what control actually looks like and feels like. And so we set up an approval process in ControlQore that, oh man, I haven't ever done it this way. We've never had this type of control. So they get to participate in approving invoices, but then they don't have to worry about them after that. So the bills will show up, and very quickly, in 5 minutes, they can run through and approve 20 or 30 bills for payment, or they can reject them, and then I've got the go ahead and pay them. And that's just one step in ControlQore. And we can do that in any system. So same thing, QuickBooks Online is relatively detailed in how it can work. And I work well in that particular environment, because QuickBooks Online or any other cloud-based system, you don't have to give away a lot of banking information in order for me to get into your system. All you have to give me is your QuickBooks Online account access, and then you can go in and log into your banking information and connect it to QuickBooks Online. And so I don't even need to know your banking passwords in order for me to do effective reconciliation at QuickBooks Online, if you're on QuickBooks Online. Now, obviously, in the future, we have some really strong opinions about QuickBooks Online and how it's not really great for the construction industry, and so we're building our own replacement for that. But in the meantime, while we're still putting all that together, again, we'll meet you where you're at, and we'll earn your trust without you feeling like you're giving away the keys of the kingdom.
Excellent. That was exactly what I was. Well said. So what if a contractor feels that they're not tech savvy? What if, in fact, they don't use QuickBooks very often?
Probably a good contractor.
Yeah, they're probably pretty good.
Who took his witty pill today?
Yeah.
JD wins the award. Good. I mean, but you know what? I mean, that's not. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. I mean, the truth. As we've discussed so often, I mean, of course, a contractor, that's what they do. That their job is to ensure that building gets up safely, securely, efficiently, and with some kind of profit margin. And
what goes through my mind is let's say I've got a business owner, and I'm like, listen, you hired me to do a job. My job's to deliver control to you. This is what I need from you. And if I can just be really clear about, I just need you to come in and push this button and look at these bills and say approve or reject or whatever. then I feel like I'm getting enough buy-in and support from you to deliver the product you hired me to deliver, and then I can go and you're not slowing us down from moving through and getting the job done, and we're not slowing you down from going and getting your job done. And so I think that being realistic, so like our approvals, our desktop and on the mobile app, so you can, I mean, the desktop experience when you're looking at document previews and stuff, it's going to be a better experience, but you can still approve stuff in the field. You can still see what's going on. And I think that's what's important, is that like, if like our technology needs to be simple, and I don't need to teach you, if you don't want to know how it works, that's fine. Just like, I need at least get your support on what the few things I need you to know, and we'll walk through it until you can do it. So
yeah, I think that, like, so when you have guys that are less technology enabled, having very simple, workflows in your technology is important. But then on the other side of that, making sure that your service is like that you are available to help clear up the part that's confusing. I need you to input these bills. That's all I need you to do. And if you run into an issue or you run into a problem of some kind, I am available to answer those questions as your service provider. Being there and white gloving that service is super important to me, because I know that they would rather throw their phone out a window than deal with a frustrating piece of technology. Well, before you throw that thing out the window, use it to give me a phone call, and I will walk you through whatever it is that piece of technology is making hard for you. And it could be our technology, we're not perfect, or it could be a piece of technology that you're using with QuickBooks Online or another accounting or finance function. I typically know how to run through them all. And they all have their little quirks. They all have their little deficiencies where they don't fit your business quite perfectly. And that's the job of the bookkeeper, is to figure out, okay, where are the deficiencies? Where are the inefficiencies? How can I make that process as efficient as possible so that my guy who doesn't want to be in the technology doesn't have to be? And he's only in there the minimum amount, the minimum amount of technology usage that adds up to the maximum amount of control that is still felt by the client. So
I just want to say that paper on the wall was cued to come down to say, basically, we're replacing your paper.
That's right.
That's right.
That was well done, guys. We rehearsed that over and over again, and I didn't know if it was going to.
Too many design notes.
That was all CGI, actually. So.
So let's talk about what types of construction businesses and contractors do you typically see that you work with and that you feel are more ripe for this than others?
For bookkeeping as a service, I think generally speaking, that's an owner operated business that like they're experiencing more success than they can handle. And I just say that in the sense that, like, usually it's the success that drives you to, like, you're like, I can't, I have too much, like if you're not doing a ton of work, then I guess you have time to stay on top of your bookkeeping, like, but you may not be in business that long. I don't know. So it's owner operated, usually guys that are like, I'm out in the field, or I don't have time. Like, I'm tired of doing billings at night and weekends, and but they still don't want to give up control. That's how I would describe like bookkeeping as a service. It can be folks that are
well,
really
let's kind
successful.
of break it down. You're a contractor yourself. JD. So
Yeah.
let's sort of, talk about a minimum number of projects that you're running, perhaps, minimum number of either self-performing or subbed, contractors. Let's kind of play this out. And also, are we talking about residential, commercial, and civil, or just residential, or residential and commercial?
I honestly, at this point, like, I don't think that the residential or the commercial side plays as much of an impact on your need for a couple of the fundamental things of like good cash reconciliation. That covers like all players in the industry, but but if your technology or if your time is just too like prohibitive, then that's where bookkeeping can come in and help you out with that. So I don't think it actually like that. That's an easy one for everyone. Everyone needs that. And then beyond that, you can start looking at accounts payable. What we do for our the bill approvals and completely outsourcing your payment experience while still maintaining some control. I think that's generally for folks that like if you're a subcontractor. I think that there's a lot of variety in that, but I don't know, Bri, like if you're processing like over like what 30 bills a month or something, like, I mean, that can stack up like, but it's actually a really interesting question. I don't know.
I would say like the size of companies that we typically come in with bookkeeping services are going to be folks that are doing over $1 million and under 10 million. Those guys.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So if you're over $1 million and under 10 million, you've gotten past that initial phase where you might be able to manage your books by yourself, and you're starting to get into this overwhelmed sensation, whether your wife is doing it or your spouse, I suppose, and you're just starting to feel like you've got too much going on and you don't know what you don't know.
Actually, I thought of another one. Like you maybe you had an office manager or a part-time employee and they're moving on to other things, and you're just like, oh man, like where am I going to find another part-time employee that I can rely on?
This person has been with me since the dawn of time. They're older than Moses, and they know my system backwards and forwards way better than I do. And so if that person is leaving, well, who am I going to get to replace her? You better find somebody who either is just as old, maybe Aaron, if you for you Old Testament readers, and or you go find somebody who knows construction accounting inside and out and can give you the experience. Maybe like they'll learn some things and they'll have to come in and understand your system, but the whole background of the industry is already under our belt. And so we can come in and take over that spot as well. But yeah, 1 to 10 million for the bookkeeping as a service. Our card management platform, really that's enterprise grade. Like you can be brand new starting out and use our card and expense management platform, or you can be $1 billion shop and our card and expense management platform would be perfect for you.
And that I like the deep dive. That's very good. And just so the audience knows, we'll provide you with some outtakes from today's live stream that's going to synthesize and summarize some of this so that people have takeaway that they can apply it and come to ControlQore if it makes sense to even just have a demo. So I just want to, as we are wrapping toward our 45-minute stop, which we generally do. We've got Chris Dowd, who's asked some questions here. He wants to know, why is it health insurance premiums are not allowed as an IRS deduction? Can you address that?
It's a good opportunity for letting you know we're not accountants. So
we're not CPAs, I think is the best way to say that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Why is it health insurance premiums are not allowed as an IRS deduction?
For the owner or for, I guess, yeah, my first question would be, is that for the owner or is that for the,
It's usually for the owner.
Yeah. So if it's for the owner,
I don't know. It makes me mad too. So, no, I haven't like had to deal with that a ton. And so I think like, we'll just say on that one, like better get a good, reliable answer from your CPA.
Yep.
Well, just to let you know, I'm working on something behind the scenes where I will be having a guest on that actually is more, I'll say, on the government side of the government programs, like health insurance, that perhaps we can dig this out in some way, shape, or form. And then Chris goes on to say he wants to be referred to any health insurance premium and association savings to contractors' fixed overhead beyond the daily project costing. So again, it's in that health insurance vein. But these are good questions, because I think even for you guys at ControlQore, it's like, what kind of external resources might you be providing that that helps your clients expand, although it's not the focus.
Yeah.
So if we want,
I think it is important, really quickly, Steph, for me to kind of delineate here. We take over operational accounting, so bookkeeping as a service. We're hesitant to go up into that strategic level, like fractional CFO work, just because we can't dedicate that amount of time to any one specific client. And so where these questions about, how to use health insurance premiums or how to get them cheaper, we can certainly, we have a network of individuals. I can think of somebody right off the bat that could potentially help Chris out. But we as bookkeepers, we take a step back and say, look, we will do all of the bookkeeping and we will prepare your books to be able to be viewed by a CPA, but we're not going to actually tell you, like, here is the most tax advantageous way to report your earnings. We're going to leave that up to the CPA.
I think that's tremendous, because I think so many people try to be all things to everybody, and then you're never good at the
Right.
Whatever
Right.
the services are that you initially got into business about. So how can viewers learn more and see if ControlQore is the right fit for their business? Is the next step in just a conversation? Is it a demo? Is it some collateral? What is it?
I think we try to make it pretty, I guess, like ControlQore.com.
Yep.
We tried to pre-record a number of different demos. Most of those are focused on the card expense management. We, as we personally demoed and tried to get like a feel for a product, I was always a little bit irritated when I had to like commit to a conversation just to like evaluate a product. So we've tried to, I think if you go in, like, there should be a demos link. We've just recently updated it, but so we try to make demos available. We try to make ourselves available. We try to make our pricing pretty transparent.
That's nice. That's a good one.
And and so, and I would say, like, really a lot of this is coming from the perspective as like a technology consumer ourselves. Like if the pricing is outrageous, like, I don't want to have to spend like 2 phone calls in 3 hours to find that out. And also like we try to be, I mold our services and our technology to fit your needs. Sometimes that does require a conversation. And so, just bearing that in mind, like, we're trying to strike a balance there. So don't hesitate to call. Really, we've probably got a lot more in common with you than you might initially assume or guess. And our objective is truly to create value and to earn your trust. We're not going to try to sell something in any way that we wouldn't want to be sold ourselves.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something that I don't know if our sales guy would appreciates it all the time, but I'll tell a client, I'm like, hey man, I don't think we're a good fit. So, not because you're not a good person, but just genuinely because you're either very dialed in and don't have a need for me, or there's just some technical aspect that we just aren't I'm not gonna tell you that our system or our practices are gonna do something that we just can't do. So and I genuinely like, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why we were in the business we are, but I just genuinely like talking about construction and learning what somebody's doing. Like, are they an epoxy floor guy?
It's true.
Are they fencing? Are they siding? Like, what do you do? Like, what's hard about your life in this specific instance? And you know what? I can identify with that, because that putting in foundation sucks.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get you on the platform and we can at least exchange hats.
Look at good old Caleb there with the right to the link. I did have some information in terms of emails I was going to offer up as well, but thank you, Caleb. Yes, absolutely. Either, take a snapshot of this now if you're listening live. I think this is really important. Take the technology element out of it. If you're not a profitable contractor, what's the point?
Yeah.
And this is getting you there, and you go focus on your building or your epoxy floors. Yeah.
Something that's been eating at me for the last little bit is the astounding number of small contractors that go out of business. It's a remarkable statistic how many contractors go out of business. And I can't help but feel like proper bookkeeping practices would help that number go down exponentially. Because if you're keeping track of those things, again, going back to, like, you might feel like, hey man, I'm booking millions of dollars in revenue, but you just cannot, if you're not doing proper bookkeeping, you cannot tell if that project is costing you money or if it's actually making you money. And so all these businesses that are struggling to keep up, like, just let somebody with a little bit more experience on the accounting side come in and clean things up so you can scale back down or scale up responsibly. I genuinely feel like financial wellness is one of the critical aspects to keeping your business or keeping the industry as a whole, like, afloat and working well.
You're probably mad at me, but like, I'll even offer up Bry's Excel services if you need to get your bidding template or your estimating template.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, we don't like whatever you need. Like, we'll get, with it, short of, I guess, tax advice.
Yeah, short of tax.
But it's such a practical need. But if you're new to Microsoft Excel, and if that's part of what you need for 1 month, guys, let's jump on a video call and let's pump out an Excel template that'll fit your needs for now. And whatever it is, we're confident we can make a difference, and we want to earn your business and we earn your trust, because I know that there's more to come and a lot of really exciting things that we're currently working on. But we just need to demonstrate that you can rely on us, and we'll hold ourselves accountable to providing the outcomes that you need.
Well, JD, as we close it up, though, I think it's important for them to know that you're a contractor.
Yeah.
Well, you're in it so much that you don't necessarily call it out, but I'm calling it out because that's what makes you so valuable to the ControlQore equation. You live it. You are one of them, and
And I hear it, because when our technology is there's things that aren't working the way that we hope, then I get direct feedback. So it definitely has a really positive feedback loop, I guess. Helps push the product along.
Well, it helps, but also it's because you've been there, you've done that. I mean, you know, your own company uses the services of ControlQore. I mean, that's the reality. But getting back to what Bryant said, I read that stat very recently myself. It's like over 80%.
Yeah.
It's and it doesn't have to happen, particularly in a time when our infrastructure needs so much good labor to do these things, so that people like Bryant and Caleb and JD can make the financial side just look after itself the way it has to look after itself, so that you're not, you know, not being able to go to your kid's soccer game on the weeknight because, oh my God, you know, no, I didn't file last year and now the IRS is after me and yada, yada, yada. I mean, those things don't have to happen.
I've got to reconcile 12 months of transactions in, you know, in the next
several thousand transactions in the next 15 days.
So that's pretty optimistic. It's probably like 2 days.
Yep.
So
there you go. But I mean, you know, so again, because Bryant spelt out exactly, you know, the volume of business that, you know, you ideally need to be doing. And listen, I mean, who's turning away business if they're in business? Like, who's turning it away? Nobody who wants to stay in business, apparently. Anyway, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to add before we call it a wrap?
No, I just genuinely appreciate, Steph, the work that you do in bringing not just ours, obviously, but you know, the rest of the technology and bringing the construction community together to kind of have these conversations and figure out how to just be better as a whole, as an industry, to serve and work with each other.
Yeah, I think I appreciate having as a creator of technology, having a voice.
Yeah.
Because I think in a lot of respects is like a product manager, like the technology reflects a lot about like who I am and I, you know, and what I need from the product. And that's not always apparent. There's a lot of noise right now in the technology, just with like what's available. So I do believe that providing an opportunity for folks to at least peel back some layers, get to know the folks that are behind the product, is just as important as a demo of the product. Yep. So thanks, appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And just to put a highlight on that, or a fine point rather, I do it because people buy people. Mm-hmm. And in construction, that is absolutely the truth.
Yep.
People buy people. They're buying you and the culture you create. And only then are they interested in a demo. Yep. Those two things have to come first.
Yep.
And that's just the reality of certainly of construction. I think almost unlike most other situations where you're talking technology, because it tends to be, dare I say, more of a administrative white collar game. It's more like the, you know, financial banking, you know, is a good example. You know, however you get to those roles and you use the automation you use is very different from how construction even perceives of technology. So thank you for that, for that call out and that recognition. As far as I'm concerned, we're collaborators.
Yeah. You
can't get anywhere without collaboration. And I'm here to, you know, to make ControlQore be known. But, you know, again, I was truly excited when you guys started talking to me as Bookkeeping as a Service. I thought, ding, 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 ding. That's the answer to those SMBs that are struggling every day trying to keep paper and hammer going at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Nice.
Great.
All right, so we'll be sending out some collateral after this. If you don't want it, just let us know. Nobody's trying to push anything more than you can handle on your plate and have digital PDFs you never open. But there's value in the conversation, and there's value in what both JD and Brian have shared today. And I thank them both for peeling back the layers.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Steph.
Thank
Take
you
care,
so
everyone.
much. Have a good day, everybody.